We've just released our quarterly economic scorecard on the performance of the states. The scorecard shows that Australia continues to run at 2 speeds. On the back of strong population growth, solid government spending and a pickup in housing construction, the mining-dominated states of Western Australia and Queensland continue to outperform. Demand has also picked up in South Australia as government spending has shifted higher following a period of sluggish growth coming out of the pandemic. The consumer-dominated states of New South Wales and Victoria continue to lag as consumer spending remains soft, with this softness now spilling over into private new business investment. Finally, Tasmania is falling behind as population growth remains weak and private business investment has now fallen for 2 consecutive quarters. Despite this, we expect economic activity to converge going forward. This quarter, we released gross state product and state-based employment forecasts for the very first time. These show that as private demand recovers, particularly from the second half of 2026, following further interest rate cuts and 2 further rounds of smallish tax cuts, the consumer states of New South Wales and Victoria will start to catch up to the mining-dominated states. Activity in Queensland will continue to be supported by Olympics-related construction, while Western Australia will benefit from the pipeline of construction projects required to house the larger population. Our forecasts do show a bit of a mismatch between solid growth in state demand on the one hand and sluggish growth in output or gross state product on the other, particularly in the mining states. This reflects the drag from the mining sector, where subdued mining-specific investment has seen commodity export volumes go sideways and weigh on output growth. The good news is that this hasn't spilled over into activity in the broader local economies. We also delved into state budgets, which have now landed for 2025. Following a near-term downgrade to economic forecasts, most states are expecting a pickup in economic activity going forward as private demand recovers. This will see fiscal balances improve as revenue flow increases while growth in expenses slow down. As a result, we expect the state fiscal impulse to be flat this coming year, down from the significant annual average impulse of about 0.5 percentage point of GDP over the past 2 years. With interest costs surging to be 1% of GDP, this will limit any further spending increases by the states. One area where there is upside to activity is investment in utilities and in particular renewable sources of energy. This pipeline of renewable energy projects has grown threefold in just 1 year to a record $200 billion. The pipeline is dominated by projects along the east coast of Australia, with New South Wales leading the way, followed by Queensland and Victoria. Even if we use a conservative share of projects under considerations and assume that these are approved, we could see investment activity in utilities increase to a record share of the economy in the next few years. This will help see growth rebalance to the consumer-based states, help with the handover from public to private sources of growth, and will have positive implications for productivity, albeit with a lag, given it takes time for these investments to be fully integrated and utilised. Our report shows that while economic activity remains sluggish, conditions vary across the states. The good news is, as private demand recovers and upsides from things like renewables investment materialise, growth will pick up and become more evenly balanced across the states. Further interest rate cuts and the 2 further rounds of tax cuts will help achieve this rebalancing.
The content of this recording is informational and of general nature only, and is not intended to constitute a research report or reflect any recommendation or financial advice. It has been prepared without taking into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs, and investment decisions should not be based on it. You should obtain your own independent advice before proceeding with any investment decision. Whilst every effort has been taken to ensure that the contents are correct and any opinions, forecasts, conclusions are reasonably held based on information at the date of recording, Westpac does not make any representation or warranty as to the accuracy or completeness of the statements or information contained in this recording, and any liability therefore is expressly disclaimed to the extent permitted by law. None of the material included in this recording should be copied, published or reproduced in whole or in part without the prior written permission of Westpac.